What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we're getting into Blood Hunt issue number 2, Marvel's big event where the vampires are taking over everything. But the biggest twist of all of it, Blade is king of the vampires. He's in charge of everything going on, and Dracula is out there trying to stop him. Now, when it comes to the tie-ins of Blood Hunt, we'll probably get around to them eventually, but we're really focusing on the main 5 issues of this story. What we saw in the last issue, the Avengers being tricked, allowing Blood Coven, a superpowered group of vampires, into their headquarters at the Impossible City. They left behind an injured Thor, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch. And if that isn't enough, we saw Blade fatally wound Doctor Strange. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up at the Impossible City. We see that Thor is being drained of all of his blood. Teleport shielding is activated. Runic binding has been put in place. They find themselves completely secure here as we see the new monster created. T'Challa has become a vampire. He sends the Black Panther after a specific prize. The Blood Coven, he sends after his daughter. Now, Blade's daughter is a relatively new addition used very often in comics. At least recently. I do think we're going to be covering the tie-in that is Dracula, and Dracula has pretty much been helping her out along the way. That's exactly what we see going down here. Vampires attacking the innocent. And so as Dracula and Brooks take down these vampires, he lets her know that that was a dumb and foolish move, that they cannot continue to risk her life, regardless of who this is or who needs saving. But with all this going down, this is where we pick up with TIGRA. We pick up with Hunter's Moon, our members from the Moon Knight mission, doing all the work that Moon Knight would be doing if he were alive. And if for those that don't know, Hunter's Moon is the other fist of Khonshu. But they show up, they meet up here, and we also meet up with Spider-Man Miles Morales. All of them trying to figure out what the heck's going on, why they're under a vampire invasion. Nobody having any of the answers that they need, they think, let's go to Doctor Strange's place. But when they show up, this place doesn't look necessarily the best shape. Fires all around the building, they go up, they knock, only to be greeted by the ghost of Doctor Strange. He lets them know that he is currently in his astral form due to some complications with his body, considering the fact that he was turned into a vampire. Clea Strange is doing everything she can just to hold him and keep control of him while they figure out what to do. As we pick back up with Dracula and Blade's daughter, the voice that the two of them had heard was the Blood Coven. The Blood Coven has found them, come to take them back to Blade. But before this fight can get underway with Dracula and the Blood Coven, we have the arrival of the Avengers. The Avengers have shown up for round 2. Vision grabbing McGrim, unable to control him because of his synthetic brain, moving it fast enough to where you can't target onto his mind. The brain patterns, they simply change too quickly. And without the brain bender in the mix, the others in the Blood Coven are falling one by one. This time, the Avengers came, and they didn't come to play. They were originally caught off guard in their first fight. That's not the case anymore, with our heroes getting the better of the Blood Coven. Captain Marvel says that you guys had sucker punched us, but even at half strength, they are still the Avengers. Captain Marvel shooting a bolt up to the sky, breaking through the shield, and opening up part of the sun, just enough to shine on the Avengers. The Blood Coven recognizing that this is a battle they lost. A portal opens up and they retreat. And then the Avengers decide that they're gonna head off and they're gonna go find out what they can from Doctor Strange. Getting here, they fill each other in on all the information that is currently known. They are working on getting the Impossible City back, but Doctor Strange knows that they gotta move quickly. They have been gathering forces such as Spider-Man and the individuals from the Midnight Mission. Blade's daughter is ecstatic to finally see somebody that she knows. She goes in to hug Spider-Man to have a conversation, only to see that Miles Morales, he's got something wrong with him. As Miles rips off his mask, this is where it is revealed that Miles has been turned into a vampire. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Still a relatively interesting story. You know, I think a lot of this is supposed to be like shock and awe. Like, oh my god, this person was turned into a vampire, this person was turned into a vampire, but we all really know how this is going to turn out. More than likely, Blade is probably possessed by something, some kind of ancient power or ancient vampire. I even saw somebody comment and say that maybe Blade and Dracula switch places. They switch bodies, which is very plausible, but based off of everything we've seen so far, it doesn't necessarily look like that. And they're gonna find a way to turn everybody back. That's one of the unfortunate things about stories like this. They're much better suited as Elseworld stories like DC Comics had done with their DC versus vampires, and that one did hugely well. You know, there's definitely some criticism in there, but I mean, on this channel alone, I think that video is close to like 400,000 views. People love DC versus vampires, or at the very least, were intrigued in reading it and finding out about it. And that is because it was an Elseworld story. Not having rules attached with canon allows you to create a story where the unexpected can happen and you don't know if that person's gonna come back. You don't know what happened to them. Nightwing being the vampire king for DC Comics, absolutely crazy. But man, is he one brutal leader. But you're able to tell that story because you can kill off any character you need to, you want to, you can have fun with it, you can go all over the place. But when you're having to stay in the guidelines of canon, that means you have to bring these people back eventually. At some point, some way, shape, or form, you gotta reverse the vampirism, you gotta do all of that. So while I don't mind this event, it's hard to get enjoyment from it when they're trying to be so much shock and awe with it, and we know, I mean, heck, Doctor Strange just died. We know he's not gonna stay dead. We know he's not gonna stay a vampire. But we're gonna see this 5 issues through. We're gonna see where it goes, what ends up being of Blade on the other side, what happens to the Vampire Nation, Dracula, everything else. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that has been going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with Blood Hunt. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.